Let's talk about our tools for a second. What happens when they get smarter than us? And I don't mean in some crazy sci-fi robot takeover way. I mean in a much quieter, more subtle way. A way where we just stop knowing how to do the things they do for us. That's the big question we're diving into today. Are we starting to outsource our own brains?
All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we're going to look at a pretty shocking admission coming from right inside the AI world. Then we'll get into this massive shift from AI assistants to actual autonomous agents. After that, we'll define the big idea here, the competence paradox, and see how it's redefining our skills. And finally, we'll talk about the huge choice that all of this leaves us with.
So where's the first real sign that something's up? The canary in the coal mine? Well, it's coming from the very people who are building this future. This isn't just speculation. This is a real, documented concern from inside one of the top AI labs on the planet. Now, what makes this quote so powerful is where it comes from. This isn't some critic or a journalist. This is from internal research at Anthropic, the folks who made the AI model Claude. They started noticing this trend among their own world-class engineers. These brilliant people are leaning on AI so much to write code that their own fundamental skills are starting to fade. We've always loved that analogy for technology, that it's a bicycle for the mind, a tool that just makes us better, faster, stronger. But the tools we're building now are different. They're not just helping us anymore. They're actually doing the thinking for us. The bicycle is starting to ride itself, and we're just kind of hoping to hang on. And that idea perfectly captures this next massive shift. We are moving from a world of AI copilots to AI autopilots. And that little change in wording, well, it changes everything about our work and our skills. Think about it. In the copilot era, you were the architect. The AI was your power tool. It gave you suggestions, but you were still doing the work. Now we're in the agentic era. You're not the architect anymore. You're the delegator. You just hand off the whole project. With systems like Mistral's DevStral 2 or Microsoft's Agent Lightning, you give one high-level command, and the AI does the whole thing, planning, coding, debugging. You're not building anymore, you're just ordering. And if you think this is some distant future, you just have to follow the money. I mean, look at these numbers. Broadcom is seeing a 74% surge in AI chip sales. Microsoft is throwing $23 billion into building data centers just for this agentic future. Companies like CoreWeave are raising billions just to keep up. This isn't coming, it is here. And here's the real kicker. Every single time we delegate a tough problem to an AI, we're robbing ourselves of the chance to build our own expertise. True knowledge isn't about having the answer. It's forged in the struggle of finding the answer. It's the scar tissue that teaches you what works, what doesn't, and why. We're outsourcing the struggle, and I'm worried we're outsourcing the learning right along with it. So this whole phenomenon, it actually has a name. It's a formal theory that explains the danger perfectly. It's called the Competence Paradox, and it's a pattern we've seen happen over and over again in other fields. The paradox itself is simple, but it's really profound. The better and more reliable an automated system gets, the worse we become at managing it. The classic example is what they call automation surprise in aviation. Pilots who rely too much on autopilot can actually lose that intuitive feel for the plane, which makes them less prepared for that one-in-a-million moment when they have to take over manually. And this brings the question right back to us, to you. Take a hard look at your own work. Are you starting to direct systems you don't really understand anymore? Have you become a manager of black boxes, just giving inputs and judging the outputs, but losing the ability to actually build or fix what's going on inside? Because that's the trade-off we're all making, whether we realize it or not. We are swapping deep foundational competence, the knowledge of how and why something works, for managerial efficiency. We're getting incredibly good at describing what we want, but we're forgetting how to actually make it ourselves. Now, this isn't just about technical jobs like coding. This shift from doing to directing is changing the very soul of human creativity and our value in the economy. We're slowly but surely shifting from being creators to being curators. And you can see this happening across pretty much every creative field out there. The primary skill, the act of creation, is being replaced by the secondary skill of curation. Instead of composing music from a blank page, we're prompting generators like Suno and Udio. Instead of designing a logo, we're selecting from dozens of AI-generated options. We're not filming video. We're generating clips with tools like Runway and Heijin. We are becoming editors of the machine's work. But here's the danger in that. Curation is a great skill, no doubt. but it depends on a foundation of primary, hands-on knowledge. A great editor knows what good writing feels like because they've written. A great art director has an instinct for design because they have designed. If an entire society stops doing and only curates, our collective judgment, our taste, it's just going to decay.
And this all brings us to the final and, frankly, the most important point. This future, it's not set in stone. It is a choice. It's a choice we are all making every single day with the tools we decide to use and the skills we decide are worth keeping sharp. This right here, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. The real existential risk we're facing isn't some super intelligent AI that decides to turn against us. It's a sufficiently intelligent AI that just makes it so easy for us not to think, not to struggle, not to learn, that we willingly hand over the very skills that define our competence and our creativity.
So I'll just leave you with this one thought. As we delegate more and more of our thinking to these unbelievably powerful systems, we have to ask ourselves a really serious question. What is the uniquely human part we want to protect? When the tools do the thinking, what is left for us to do?